Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Well, I'll be extra loud, which is no difficulty. I want to welcome you to Convocation for the 2022-2023 academic year at Aultman College. I'm Jean Caddock, I'm the president of the college, and today you're in retreat. I really think you are. So Convocation is for everyone. There is no student that is more or less special than any other, and no faculty or staff member that's more or less special than any other. You're going to hear today from different people and hear some different stories. The Convocation traditionally is the kickoff. And if you look in the dictionary and look up what it means, it talks to you about gathering, an official gathering, a formal gathering. Well, we tried very hard to make this feel like us. It's a family gathering. We're sitting at the table together. We're getting ready to kick off that year. All of us are nervous. I've talked to more than one student today and said, how are you doing? The face was kind of like,
Oh, let's look at this. The district.
and I said, me too.
Yes,
I
we had
didn't sleep well last
an
night.
contractor.
Everything is just right for all of you. I assure you that your faculty
Hey,
and
Monica.
members are in the same boat. We're all just a little nervous. Well, today is to get rid of the nerves. We're gonna get together, get a little inspiration, hear from the team.
Oh,
That you feel like you know. what-
library, or if,
You should have also either at your seat received a pencil or picked up a pencil. And I welcome those of you joining us live on Facebook or online. There's pencils available in the main office all week. So make sure you get your pencil. That will be an important part of the start of the school year. So welcome. My job is to get us started. And I talked a little bit when we practiced, and I really pulled it together over the last week. I heard from my fellow speakers, and it kind of all made sense in my head. We're going to talk about overcoming barriers today. Because when you start an academic year at any point, it can feel like Mount Everest. And I'm kind of an outdoor junkie, so adventure writing, adventure travel is right up my alley. So I wanted to give you an image of what Mount Everest looks like. Insurmountable, intimidating, these can all be things that we feel at the beginning of an academic year. And we're also all coming in with a backpack, whether you see it or you don't see it. Sometimes we have invisible backpacks on that are carrying the weight of our families or our caregiving responsibilities at home, or some trauma that we've dealt with in the recent past. So I want you to remember your fellow travelers and journeyers all have backpacks. And we worked hard last year. We talked a lot about being aware of the different barriers and what people have in front of them. That Mount Everest is hard and intimidating, and everybody's barrier might look different. Well, the picture on the right shows you that this year, we're going to talk about getting past the barriers and getting to the summit. And there's all different routes. Success does not look the same to every person. A lot of people assume, and they'll talk to me about success and where I started and where I landed as a college president, and they assume it's a straight line. It couldn't be more wrong. The journey is circular, backwards, around, about, all over. And you'll see that in the routes that are pictured to the summit of Everest. There's a lot of different ways to get to the top and a lot of different directions to go. And I also gave you a picture of one of my favorite climbers, Eric Wiedemeyer, and he's inspirational to me. And I hope you hear from some inspirational people today that take you the same way that he did me. He summited Mount Everest in 2001, and in 2008, completed the 7 summits, the highest summits on all the continents. One of only 150 mountaineers worldwide to accomplish this. That's a lot of overcome barriers. So regardless of what's in front of you today, you're going to get some inspiration. And the most important thing I want you to hear is that it's a team sport. You'll see in this picture that backpacker from the first slide has a lot of people with him or her. And you'll see even on the right, the native people in the Himalayas are called Sherpas. They're very familiar with the area. They know how to climb, and I assure you that every climber has a team with that. Their particular team summited Mount Everest summited K2, which is the next highest mountain, in the winter season for the first time in January of 2021. There's still barriers being overcome. And you see our college team at the bottom. You're going to hear from stellar people today, but they're also normal people. They're just like you, and they're just like me, and they've overcome their own barriers to get where they are. So we're going to kick it off, as we normally would, with students. And I'm so excited to welcome Leah Honottle to the podium. You can come up and join me. She is your Student Senate President and wants to give her a message of welcome today. Leah? Thank you, Dr. Nada.
Hello, everyone. I would just like to take time to welcome everyone back to campus for fall 2022 semester. My name is Leah Honottle, for those that don't know me. I'm a senior in the DSM program. I'm also president of Student Senate here. I'm a member of the Student Services Council and a peer mentor in our mentoring program. I'd also like to introduce the other officers that we have in Student Senate, our Vice President, Emily Prout, our Treasurer, Daniel Evans, and our Secretary, Warren Wilson. I'm looking forward to the exciting events that we have planned for student experience and community outreach that are taking place both on and off campus this year. For example, we have Constitution Day coming up on September 20th in the college courtyard, and off campus, we have a fall formal plan for students, employees, and alumni. As we take steps forward into a more normal routine in school experience, I want to remind everyone to reflect also on the past. Over the past 2 years, we have all been through many changes and overcome obstacles. I'm thankful for the resiliency of our staff, faculty, and administration here, who have all worked together in order for our students to be successful in our education. I'm looking forward to having this year be a prime example of our strengths that we have found in overcoming our barriers. With this new school year and fresh start, I hope I can encourage others to take a step out of their comfort zone in order to benefit our community around us. Here's to a great fall semester. Thank you.
Was that a step out of your comfort zone? Let's keep it real. Okay. So Leah is followed up today by some student recognition, and that comes from Mrs. Bradley. All of you are familiar with her face around campus, and she's pleased to share with you today some special announcements. Thank you, Dr. Paddock. Good afternoon. My name is Jen Bradley, and as the Student Success Services Coordinator, I have the opportunity to work with students from new student orientation all the way through graduation and at many stops in between. It is always a great pleasure to see the growth and leadership that our students acquire over their years. They are nervous first semester students, but then thriving graduates as they graduate and move into their chosen profession. Today, I have the honor of recognizing a few of our upcoming leaders. First is our Talent Society. Talent Society members inspire the next generation of healthcare providers by sharing their college experiences with incoming students at new student orientation, at preview days and tours, and serving as special event assistants. Students chosen to be in the Talent Society represent the values of Aultman College. This elite society is open to students in all programs. Students must apply, interview, and meet the eligibility requirements of having completed at least one semester with us here at the college, be in good academic standing, and have strong communication and interpersonal skills or the ability to develop those. I am honored to introduce the following Talent Society members for this academic year. Mackenzie Kurtz,
Hi, I'm Mackenzie. I'm a senior in the DSM program. I'm also part of the Student Senate, and I'm also part of the peer mentoring program. I'm looking forward to this year, the student extracurricular activities, and I'm also hosting my volunteer opportunities for Talent Society at the Aultman College as well.
Danielle Evans. Hi everyone, I'm Danielle Evans. I'm also the president of student senate of the district president. I'm the mentor. And the most thing I'm excited for is the whole and getting to know my community member and opinion. This semester, I'm going to be coordinating monitor out at the public schools to the Connor Butler.
My name is Connor Rutledge. I'm a senior in the BSN program as well. Currently, I will be leading the opportunities to volunteering at the Rapids of Hope, and will be serving meals for those in the community. I'm really excited this semester to do our critical care rotation and be a mentor on the mentoring program.
Heidi Stoller. My name is Heidi Stoller. I'm a junior in the BSN program. I am a member of both Talent Society and Student Senate, and I had the honor of being one of last year's presidential scholars. And I am coordinating the volunteer effort at the Pregnancy Care Center, which is in Worcester. And I'm excited for the peer mentoring program this fall and my clinical rat applications. Is unable to join us today, but she is entering her sophomore year in the BSN program after working in long-term care for 11 years. She is a proud member of the Talent Society, a student mentor, and is serving as the secretary for the Student Senate. As an Aultman College student, she endeavors to gain a great education in the field of nursing, and as a member of these organizations, she is excited to be a voice and liaison for her fellow students. She hopes that she can make their college experience enjoyable and successful and assist them along their path. She will be leading volunteer opportunities at Start Fresh this semester. Dr. Benzel and I look forward to working with you. Next, I'd like to welcome Yvette Kubowski, the Radiography Club President, to the podium. My name is Yvette Kubowski, so for those who don't know me, I'm a grad club president. Here today, I have my fellow grad club officers, so Emily Laura is our VP. She's sitting over there. Is our Dr. Saxon, is our wonderful secretary. On behalf of grad club, we just want to welcome new students to the college and congratulate them on getting this career in home. So we are here today to share with you kind of the purpose of grad club. One of our first goals is going to close the communication gap between the first year students and the second year students. Therefore, many of the radiography students have volunteered to participate in the peer mentoring program. We believe that team starts with us, and we think that if we can help new students feel confident through peer mentoring and advising, we can empower them to become better students and be a greater professional upon graduation. Another goal of us is to have as many students attend OSRT as possible in spring. OSRT is a annual meeting. They bring together experts across the U.S. to advocate for lifelong learning, redefine educational standards, and also mentor both professionals and students in radiology.
This is an excellent opportunity for our students to gain knowledge in networking, professionalism, and leadership. So we're fundraising to support our students so they can attend the meeting. Some of the fundraisers that we have coming up, our first one is actually this coming Tuesday on September 13th at the Chipotle, the 5 minutes from here on track. 33% of the sales will be donated to the grad club, so be sure to dine there that day and mention us so we can get those donations. This winter, we will also be holding a raffle for a lottery ticket tree and a card tree. So we are accepting donations in the form of scratch-off tickets and gift cards, and also monetary donations, so we can put together an exciting package. This will be raffled off to Aultman College and also Aultman College, so be sure to tie your list whenever those tickets go on sale. We're also collecting new or getting new sneakers. We're able to turn these into a company called That Sneakers in exchange for a modest donation from them. They will also support our club, and then in addition, they take the shoes and they reuse them and recycle them to keep them out of the field. And then lastly, the fall grad club t-shirts will go on sale. So please be sure to show your support and appreciation for radiology by purchasing one of these t-shirts so they can go on sale. With the support of all my employees and students and friends and family, we'll be able to explore and better students and even better what makes us the best one for the future. So your support is greatly appreciated.
Scholars. Each academic year, Aultman College awards a limited number of presidential scholarships to first-time, full-time freshmen who are entering into bachelor's degrees. This scholarship is for full tuition and requires a minimum 3.8 GPA and 27 ACT scores. Students who meet the GPA and ACT criterion are contacted to apply for the presidential scholarship via a competitive written essay process. This year, 2 students were selected to receive this scholarship. Jesse Kramer graduated. He graduated from Carrollton High School with an honors and STEM honors diploma. Participated in the PCP program through Stark State College and Eastern Gateway Community. She is a freshman in our BSN program. And one thing Jesse would like you to know about her is that she grew up in rural community on a beef cattle farm. She also hopes to one day use her nursing education to help alleviate the strain on healthcare in her community. Graduated from Aultman College. He also participated in CCC through Stark State College as well as the University of Akron. She is a freshman in our BSN program, and she enjoys playing with her 4-month-old puppy, Sophie. The additional names listed on this slide are students who are also receiving this presidential scholarship. Congratulations to these individuals for their outstanding academic achievement. Thank you, Mrs. Bradley, and all of the students that you just heard from. I'm going to ask you a question. Have you ever hit a bump in your academic career or a barrier that you had to overcome? Could you raise your hand if that has happened to you? And for those of you that are watching or joining us online, that was a 100% response. We've all hit bumps and barriers. They've just shown you what they can achieve. And the story, again, Convocation is for all of us. It's not just an elite achievement for some students. All of us have barriers that we're dealing with and overcoming to get to where we want to be. You're going to hear next from 2 of our board members. And I think you'll find their personal stories and the barriers that they've dealt with and some advice for you pretty inspirational. So first, I'm going to welcome one of them to the podium, and that's Megan Shaheen. She's going to kick us off, and she'll be followed by Chase McKinney. Both have joined our board recently and shown their leadership skills and are pleased to share their story with you today. There's Megan.
I'm gonna hold pencil to keep my hands busy. Like a little fidget or something like that. So I heard that his best is just gonna go, I'm from Minerva. Anyone else from Minerva? So I grew up in a tiny little town, Minerva, and I'm hyper, so I might bounce around a little bit through all chatting. But, some great, first, childhood photos. I'm really not sure what's up with the shorts or, what's going on there, but, my college journey is kind of what I'm here to talk to you about, Kay's and I. And my college journey started at Heidelberg College. Anyone even heard of that? So I went there to play soccer my freshman year, and it took me all about 3 days to go home crying and telling my parents I wanted to come home. Because soccer was a lot harder than I had anticipated it was going to be at the college level. I was homesick. It was surprising for my parents that I was homesick because I was very outgoing. It was a lot happening at once, and I felt like, no, I'm throwing in the towel. I'm done with this. You guys come pick me up. And my parents were like, no, you're staying there. It was a combination of an encouragement plus you're staying there. And so I stayed. And I had a great time there. It was just getting over that hump of all those unknowns of just being 2.5 hours away from home and having somebody that you haven't looked up to in your small community for a very long time, they've been playing sports. So it was very challenging. But I had a great experience, but my sophomore year, I transferred to Kent State. So I moved home to live with my parents while I took classes at Kent Start. And in the spring of my sophomore year, my dad got up for work on a Monday morning and wasn't feeling well. I had a massive heart attack and passed away. And so that flipped my whole family's life upside down. Whereas my freshman year, I thought the challenge was, okay, determining whether I really wanted to stay there, go to school there, play soccer, all those things where you think on a small scale, like these are all very challenging things, but all of a sudden I was faced with something I didn't expect. No one expects anything like that. So then it just became challenging to figure out not only emotionally, but financially, how's that going to change your life and your outlook on the rest of your college career. Both of my sisters were older than me. So I was really the only one who was still in college at that time. So when my dad passed away, I was working at the downtown Canton YMCA. I mean, we were familiar with the old building. I worked there in college and I worked in the new building today. But they are still family YMCA. But I remember I vividly calling my boss that day and tell her I wouldn't be coming into work, my lifeguard insurance. And there was just silence on both ends of the phone. And I finally was able to choke out to her what was wrong. She actually just had her husband had passed away 3 weeks prior in a tragic accident as well. So there's just kind of a silence and an understanding, and then that's all the tears and it was just a hard conversation to even get through. But she, at the end of it, said, "Don't worry about the why. You go be with your family. When you're ready to come back to work, you just tell me, and we'll be here when you're ready to come back." So then a few days later, we're getting cards in the mail. We're even had a family member pass away. You get cards, flowers, all sorts of different things. And a card came in the mail, and it was from the YMCA. And there's a bunch of names scrawled in on the inside that I didn't know any of the people really. I was a 20-year-old staff member at the time. I was just touched by the fact that they thought enough to go out of their way to do that, to let me know that they were thinking during that time. So that stuck with me very early on in the YMCA. Purpose and passion, these P's actually did not come from me. I did not create this, but actually a fellow Kent State alumni shared this on his LinkedIn page. And he and I helped develop a scholarship at Kent State in the Recreation Park and Boards of Management department where we graduated from to help students that are struggling financially throughout college with maybe extra things that they're not able to pay for. We struggled when we were in college, so we made it a point as board members to come up with something that would help current students as they're at Kent. But the P's, the YMCA, the first 3 of those, purpose, passion, and people, really helped me get through some challenging times when I was in college. I didn't know it at the time, but when I came back to the Y too, all these members were hugging me and telling me, I'm here for you. I lost this family member, things like that. A P that's not on this list is probably perspective. Working at the YMCA, I worked at the YMCA then, I work at the YMCA now, I've worked there for 19 years. And there's probably a reason to that, is because I've always felt supported there, not only by staff, but members of the community, people who come in to use the YMCA. It gave me a great sense of purpose. Also, a good amount of my career was spent in aquatics. And so I helped train other people in lifeguarding, first aid, CPR, things like that. That also helped my healing process from what had happened with my dad, because I was there when it happened, had to give CPR. It's a challenging thing to have to go through periods, but when it's a family member, it changes it a bit. So I had the opportunity to meet other people, my staff at the Y, how to be prepared when an emergency occurs to be able to react and respond to it. And actually in 2012, I think I was 7, 8 months pregnant, I got called on to, a colleague had gone into cardiac arrest and we did ATM. And so we used the AED on him, we used emergency oxygen, he came to Aultman Hospital and he was put in a hypothermic coma. 7 days later, he woke up and he was okay. So for me and my colleagues, that was an amazing experience to go through. For me, I felt like things came full circle and it gave me an opportunity to work through that with a staff and a colleague. And then further down the road in 2016, we had a lifeguard early morning guarding lap swimming. Member pushed off the wall and went into cardiac arrest, and with the help of a couple members, and they were able to get him out and use the AED on him, and he was also saved. He still comes to the YMCA to swim. We watch him very closely. But I've been in all of those experiences. Now, had you told me when my dad passed away that I would go through those other experiences and they would help shape me and show me that things happen, and they taught me that when you're in Monroe, Ohio, for those of you who are familiar with it, we're out there. You're far away from things. So it's just kind of not the same experience, you know. But it gave me an opportunity to put a positive spin on something that occurred that was challenging. And I can't tell you all those other years and all the other moments I'm leaving out because we can't be here all day. But you know, there was a lot of challenging moments there, but the YMCA provided an opportunity and space for me to be able to continue to heal and move through that. So at the end of that, perseverance is what I would say is things aren't always easy, but they're always worth it. I think back when I was in college though, with those professors I'm talking about, I helped create the scholarship and I served on the board there. They didn't know I was struggling when I was in college because I never came forward and said that I was struggling. A lot of people struggle in silence. I heard you guys mention that you have peer mentors. Use that to your benefit. You have a lot of faculty and staff in this room that would be here for you. Sometimes you just need somebody to be there. Sometimes you don't even really need them to do anything. They just need to be there. So you can talk to them and they can listen, but they have all the other supports in place for you to be successful. Because it isn't always easy. Chase and I are laughing in the parking lot when we got here. People think adults have just figured it out. We didn't know where to park. Well, we were trying to make sure we were parking in the correct spot, but those challenges and obstacles and barriers are always present. It just depends on how you show up for that. If you show up every day, and you'll get through that. So I hope something that I said today will resonate with you, and it'll be something that you'll be able to use throughout your college journey. But if I didn't say something, the pass the pencil of the case, and I'm sure something in his experience will touch you guys. So thank you guys for listening. I'm happy to be here today.
Welcome. It's gonna be a great year this year. If there's one thing that we all have in common is that we all have obstacles and barriers that we've been through and that we're going through right now, even to get to where we are at this stage of our lives. Right? Two goals that I had as I was younger and growing up is one is to travel the world. It's always something I wanted to do. Another thing was to play professional basketball. Two goals I always had as a kid. A lot of people have this, right? When I would go to my grandparents' house, traveling, they had a map on their wall. And on their wall, it was pinpointing the different places that they were world travelers. I thought it was the coolest thing. That's what my inspiration came from. But, you know, as I grew older and as I tried to stay aligned to make sure that I can have these things come to fruition, there was many obstacles, right, that came my way. And starting from being cut my freshman year back, I could get it right then. Thinking maybe this isn't for me. But I did end up in school and stuff. I know I had skills that I had to be able to do it. Right? So that's one obstacle. Injuries and college. Some ended up in surgery. My physical therapist said that I was spending probably playing college basketball, but after that, it'd be done after that, right? Trying out for different special teams. Got close, didn't quite make the team, right? There was one instance where, I flew out the base on a one-way ticket. And, out there, you know, NBA Summer League, it was, all these camps going on, and so I had an opportunity to play in front of a lot of scouts and agents. I feel like this is my shot. My thought was, I take a one-way ticket, I'll get back, I'll get a contract. I'll come back with a contract, that's gonna be my way. Right, that was my thought. If I didn't come back with a contract, but I came back with an agent. So I called my college coach this way on Saturdays. Please leave it alone, please. And so they got me home, right? Then from working out at the YMCA, North Canton YMCA, I was going there 2 or 3 times a day, working out, full workout in the gym. There was a guy that came up to me, and it's a guy that's trying to get me into business with them, you know, things that like, they're seeing working out, and, you know, he asked me, do I have a contract with hours on? So I'm not yet. Then he asked me my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, to ask me, you know, what you think about how your parents think about if you don't have a job. You know, trying to kind of break me down a little bit, right? I just kind of brushed it off. Like, you know, it's fine. They understand. And so there was many things like that came my way. That could have took me right off my path. The biggest thing that I always had though was I kept the faith and believed in myself. Right, that I knew that I was doing the right thing. I had talent where I could, right, play. You know, fast forward, I've been fortunate enough to travel over 20 countries. I know over 200 cities internationally and Mexico, right? With the Harlem Globetrotters. So if I would have given up, the people who said I couldn't do it, or given up on my dream, then I would have maybe never been able to complete these goals that I had. You all as students, you guys have a short-term goal, right? Want to get through the school year, courses. Then you have your long-term goals. You want to do well in your career, and be successful at it as well. So I have let's see these pencils that I have, and there's a purpose behind them. This video I'm going to share with you all. The gentleman in there talks about 4 things. And I think that the 4 things he mentioned is important, and I think it will benefit you all throughout your life and throughout your career as well. So.
The important things you need to know to be really proud of them. Remember, these things will be the best person you can be. First, look at this pencil. We know that in order for it to become a useful pencil, time to time, again and again, it's going to have to go through the sharpening. Or this pencil through the mass action value. That's what it takes for it to be a useful pencil. Experience the time to spend.
Remember, no matter what obstacles come your way, continue to make steps towards your goals. Make sure you're achieving those goals as well. Thank you.
We appreciate you sharing your personal stories, a little piece of your heart. As we think about the situation. We probably need to listen to that again here. Go back to that. If you're online, you have that advantage. I'm sure Stephanie will drop the link in. All right, and we're gonna talk a little bit now about scholarship in terms of financial support. And Mrs. Davis is gonna be the talk.
Okay, I'm Wendy Davis. I'm the Director of Financial Aid and Billing here at Aultman College. I just came here today to give you some facts and figures about how much money we give away. And also to remind you that my team is here to help you through your struggles to attain those goals. So before you leave, there's a little candy bar on payday. Remember, if you need some help, if you're struggling financially, stop and see us. We might not actually have a payday for you, but we will do everything we can to help you. So, up here, scholarships given, we gave over $266,000 away last year. So 79 students shared in that $266,000 pot. So encourage yourself, encourage your friends, anybody you go to school with to apply for scholarships because they're here and we want to help you. I also want to ask, are there any donors in the room? I know there are, so I see one that always gives. If you see someone that is a donor, thank them for giving it and consider yourself becoming a donor. There are plenty of scholarships and plenty of students who need your assistance.
Sometimes we're a little hesitant to talk about the financial barriers of obtaining an education. So I appreciate Mrs. Davis. She's going to lead you on the way out. And we also want to invite bi-legged to the podium because many of us in attendance are donors. And maybe you haven't thought about what that means to be a donor or how to support students to overcome a financial barrier. So Vi, if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about what that means. Thank you. Hi, I'm really excited to be in front of all of you today and talk a little bit about my role with the Aultman College. And some of you might recognize me because I spent many of years in your seats serving on the college team. And I've had the pleasure to be able to move and do what great work that we do every day in the foundation. Which button? All right, so there's this big word called philanthropy. Does anyone know what that means? Okay, who's bought a Girl Scout? Oh, come on, raise your hand. Who's bought a Girl Scout? Who's given to the heart? Who's given to Refuge and Post? The Akron can't include them. We're all philanthropists. It is connecting with people in the community that you believe in and that you give your treasure to that organization. We're all philanthropists. I didn't see a single hand, not gonna lie. And that's what I'm here to talk about today. In 2021, we gave away corporations, companies, gave away $484 billion to not-for-profit. People like Aultman College, people like Aultman College, Aultman Alliance. And of that, the number one person or the number one group that gave away are individuals. It's not corporations, companies, businesses. It's you and me sitting in this room. So all of us are philanthropists, and that's what I'm here to invite you to be. Wendy teed it up so well. She said, we, the college, gave away $288,000 in scholarships. Well, in order for $288,000 in scholarships, we need to continue to bring in dollars to be able to support that scholarship fund. That's what I do now. As with the Aultman Foundation, we have two arms. We raise money to support the entire Aultman system. And then we also give dollars away that we are
given through the budgeting process to organizations in the community that also serve patients. So that there are a lot of small non-for-profits that continue to be on top, and those are the companies and organizations that can apply for these. What has fundraising helped here at Aultman College? Well, the first is very obvious, scholarship. I'm a scholarship donor. My family has established a scholarship here because my father-in-law said Aultman Hospital was the best place to get there. And because I worked with the college, he donated dollars, and we have continued to honor his legacy through the Donald Scholarship. That's what it means to be in a named scholarship. There are many donors in our community that have said, I want to establish something forever. And so they create endowed scholarship. And that means that will never go away. It just continues to grow and earn. We bought radiology simulation equipment through grant dollars and through gifts. This whole science labs on the third floor happened because of philanthropy and fundraising. As along with the Lucina birthing simulator, the Anatomox table that you see on this picture, fundraising makes a difference. And so that's what I'm here just to talk about, to say that we all have the ability to help with fundraising. So what is it that I want to share with you today? Again, to continue to promote this culture of philanthropy, to ask, to support, to acknowledge, to give opportunity for all of you to continue your philanthropy, and to thank Aultman College when you think of that. To tell our story. There are many people in this community that still are unsure about who Aultman College is. If you know someone who you think has an alignment with Aultman College and wants to give, or has the ability to give, let Dr. Tavak or myself know. There's nothing better than to have lunch with someone and talk about the story, tell your story, because that's really what it's all about. It's connecting others with us in order to tell a story. And then lastly, it's all about building. It's thanking our donors. It's visiting with our donors. It's visiting with prospective new donors. It's continuing to build that list of prospects who have the affinity. I'd like to continue to celebrate and honor all of you as students, and to give their treasure to help you become the best healthcare professional. So that's my story. I'm excited to be part of the college team. I talk to alumni every day about their experiences, and I will continue to advocate for this for the college and especially the scholarships. See me afterwards. You want to have it on?
Well, we've seen and heard a lot about students, and we'd like to make sure that we're giving our faculty and staff some recognition as well. Many of us were scholarship recipients in our day as well. So there's scholarship in the form of getting financial assistance to go through college. And there's also scholarship that we turn around and give back in the form of new knowledge to the community. So I'm going to invite Dr. Brock Ryman to the podium. He's our Vice President of Academic Affairs, and he'll talk a little bit about the celebration of scholarship.
Good afternoon. I think I should have brought my kids in the training section as well. So when we think about scholarship, there's a number of faculty that have contributed over this past year. So I'm going to highlight those. I have a few to highlight those. We have a poster presentation, which is many of you may have participated in that or know what that is. It's gone to the conference. It's literally a large poster that has the details of the research and then the outcomes of it. Podium presentations are exactly what they suggest. Either a small venue or a larger venue, or the speaker for that specific event. And you can see the bolded names of the folks who have been doing that for this past year. And then publications are either peer-reviewed or chapter, an article of some kind. And you can see there's several folks here who have also contributed. Some of this contribution has been made possible by the former president, the inaugural president, Rebecca Crowell. And that scholarship allows faculty to have funding to either go to events or to be supported for those events. And all of these folks received some portion of those funds this past year, and that continues our scholarship. Our goal in scholarship for faculty is to continue to enrich the fields that they represent and enhance what they do for the future of healthcare.
Well, I'll ask the same question for those in attendance, our faculty and staff. Has anyone hit a barrier or a bump in their career? Yeah, just a few hands for those of you watching online. I'll raise both of mine, feel like that's a preference. Well, we also have the opportunity today to recognize some of our peers, and Mrs. Jean Shambaugh is going to come up and present some college recognition awards. Thank you.
I have the privilege and honor of awarding our college recognition awards. And the first one is Excellence in Teaching, and that's for Michelle Granitbauer. Michelle, will you please come down? Service and unique contribution to Aultman College. And as you can see on the screen, some of the attributes mentioned about Michelle include always looking for ways to enhance the curriculum and ensure student success. And my favorite is the last one, exemplifies the role of a great educator. You can't compliment anybody much more than that. Michelle, you're an inspiration to our students. Another round of applause. Our next award is Excellence in Service, and that goes to Kelly Williams. Kelly, will you please come down? This recognizes the staff members' service and unique contribution to Aultman College. And as you can see on the screen, some of the attributes mentioned, and I'll share my favorites. Kelly has compassion for Aultman College students and shows leadership by asking the hard questions and speaking up. And my favorite is always searching for different ways to impact students. If you know Kelly, that's something she does all the time. So it gives me my privilege, please, one more time.
Proud to be part of this team, especially for our students and our faculty and staff. It's a good place to be. That stretches not just with the Aultman College team, but we're part of a larger family. We're part of the Aultman family. And Sue Oliveira, another board member, has agreed to join us, and she wanted to welcome you to a larger family corporately to Aultman. Sue?
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody, and congratulations to the new students. Welcome to the Aultman family. We have over 7,000 colleagues as part of our family. That includes many of the faculty and staff in the college. And it's one big happy family. And so I'm here to welcome you on behalf of the foundation, but I have a very, I have a fondness for the college. Had a lot of great experiences and met a lot of great people that we'd like to hire. So first, I want to talk about you, the students, a little bit, and then tell you my story. It's interesting that all the board members are going to talk a little bit about ourselves. You know, college should be the best time of your life. It was for me. Are there any students here from outside of Buffalo, New York? Or Downgate, New York? No? That's shocking, but that's where I'm from. Now, I didn't go to school at the Aultman College, but I went to Kent State University. I swam there. Everyone says, what brought me here? I swam there, and let me tell you, I struggled. If you're an athlete and you're trying to go to school, you spend a lot of time. I spent a lot of time in the swimming pool, in the weight room, and let's just say the academics came second. So I struggled academically, and I had to make a decision. They ended up stopping the program, but it was the swim program. But it was the best thing that ever happened to me, because then I really got serious about my work. And I excelled and did great, and really started to enjoy learning and being in the classroom. That's really what it's all about. I wasn't gonna be a professional swimmer, but I knew my education was gonna take me where I needed to go. So I met my husband, my future husband there, and when I graduated from Kent, I decided to move back to, Fredonia, New York, which is where I'm from. And I had to decide, do I want to get a job in this small little town outside of Buffalo, New York? Or do I want to move to Canton, Ohio and give my relationship a shot? So I decided to move here and I said, I'm going to take the first job I can find. The first job I found was with Aultman, making $7.35 an hour, paying claims. I had a 4-year degree in business. And it was great. But as a college educated person, what do you think? Should be making more money, right? That's absolutely what I thought. So I thought, oh, I'm gonna get out of there pretty quick. Well, within a year, I mean, hired in human resources. I like it. And I worked at the front desk answering phones in human resources. Then I moved into compensation and recruitment and all kinds of good things in human resources. I did every job pretty much that was in there. And then I got my first management job several years later. Guess where? I'm a business degree in the lab. Pretty crazy. I don't have a clinical bone in my body, but they hired me to be a manager in the lab. I worked, it was a 24/7 operation, best experience I ever had. Because I learned what it was like to deal with the 24/7 operation, clinical operation. When I was recruited back down into human resources, into management, it really gave me a great perspective. But let me tell you, there were a lot of challenges along the way. I didn't know anything about clinical. I was already behind. I had just had a small child. So if you run a 24/7 operation, you get calls in the middle of the night. You know, so you're not sleeping a lot. You don't know the answers all the time. Anyway, you know what those challenges are, but you overcome them. You know, the network of friends, the network of colleagues, you know, is something that you'll always have, and no one can ever take that away from you. So I hope this experience is as great as mine has been. The whole point of me telling you about my experience is there are a lot of opportunities, and I can get this, but I've been here over 32 years now, from that small little corner of New York to Aultman. And I've been 16 years as the vice president of human resources. And here, you're starting a journey. Hopefully, all of you want to stay 30+ years at Aultman because the opportunities will be there. And that's kind of how I want to end my little presentation. We want you. At Aultman, we are always looking for good quality individuals. We have lots of jobs, whether you are interested in doing it casual, because we all know you're going to school right now. Part-time, full-time is probably going to be a challenge now, but someday when you graduate, see us. We want to hire you. And we want to work with you. And this is the person, Cassie Prater. Write down her email. Even if you're not sure, you might down the road say, yeah, I've heard about this. I might want to see what they have. And if we don't have the right thing, we might in the future. But check, because if you're interested, we like you. Aultman's a great family. It's a great opportunity. And if someone like me can work in a bunch of different jobs and work their way up to the vice president level, the sky's the limit here. Lots of great opportunity, and we can be the next. So, welcome. Thank you for listening.
And just to be clear, because we are talking about barriers, if I work for Aultman, they don't just have me as an employee, they'll help me pay my tuition, right? Yeah, so just to throw that plug in there, there's a little bit of barrier overcoming you can help yourself do as well. Plus you get a discount, plus you get a discount. Look at you two candy bars. All right, well, we've heard a lot of messages today about barriers, overcoming barriers, personal stories. I hope there's a nugget in there for you that helps you feel like you can make it through this school year, no matter what that looks like for you, whether you're a student, a faculty member, a staff member, a donor, part of our external family and community. We're happy to have you as part of ours. I left out one fun fact. My favorite climber is blind. So sometimes you may have a barrier in your back pocket that you don't share or is not told right away, but I assure you that the ability is in there. And I want to tell you that sometimes Chase mentioned it in his talk. You lose the belief in yourself, it's easy to miss, but it's easy to bring back. And if you're a Ted Lasso fan like I am, I added his little belief poster because sometimes you lose your own belief. Well, there's a whole lot of people in this room, there's a whole lot of people online, and there's a whole lot of people around you that can help you find that back. So don't ever forget what's possible for you, because it's possible even when it seems impossible. We talked a lot about barriers today, and last year we had an all-campus reading, and it was the book Blind Spot. It was a book about recognizing those invisible backpacks that others might have on. And we still have the ability to talk about this. I know there's a student book club that's starting with Blind Spot as well. Well, this year, our all-campus reading we're moving into is the next phase of that, building resiliency, and it's for everyone. So for faculty and staff members, if you haven't heard about the book Heart and Dr. James Knight, its author, that's an all-campus read for us, option for you this year. And Dr. Knight is additionally going to visit campus here later this month, I believe on Monday, the 26th. Thank you so much. Also for faculty and staff, we have Dr. Blake Brenner coming to campus next Monday. He's the author of a published peer-reviewed article on overcoming barriers for students, and is going to help us kind of think through our own personal roles and what we can do and how we can do things a little differently so that we can be the best for you students that we can be. And also, I always love, because I'm a reader, and students, I understand you don't have a lot of time for popular fiction or nonfiction. I get it, I was there. But I'm a reader, and I love the library. And I found it so fitting that the Stark Library's theme for One Community, One Book this year is resiliency in the face of the pandemic, overcoming it. So if you get the Stark Library mailer at your home, it looks like this on the cover. See, Nigella Lawson's coming to town too, just so you know. The newsletter just got mailed out, and it has inside of it a book list. So the mailer looks like this. If you're watching online or at home, you can just look up Stark Library, Many Stories, and that will take you to the homepage for their books. And you can see some of the community books listed at the bottom for Stark Library, and it's all about overcoming barriers, building resiliency, and making it in this world. Now, I added my own selection, which is the Eric Leonmeyer story, Touch the Top of the World, about him climbing Everest. There's no book club for that yet, but I'm not saying I won't start one. So in case you're interested in his story, there's a lot of different books out there for you to read that might strike your fancy. And as is tradition, we love to do a little bit of a book giveaway. So for those of you listed on your screen, thank you to Registrar Mrs. Court, who went through a random number generator. We have some book winners listed on the screen for all of those different readings. If you are a winner, your book will be available in the main office for you later this week. If you happen to be present today, I have many of those books with me, and you can just pick it up from me on your way out. And I will also say, as one last piece of inspiration, Mr. Leonmeyer didn't stop with Mount Everest. I learned when I was researching him that his most recent venture was to kayak the Grand Canyon. Blind. Guys, I don't understand. So he has a new book out. So one of those winners at the bottom, I'll give you the choice between his Mount Everest story or his most recent Grand Canyon story, which I ordered for myself. I don't even understand. I'm floored. So congratulations if you're a book winner today. And I want to wrap up just by simply saying thank you. We are so glad that you chose Aultman College. Well, our job is to prepare future healthcare professionals. We want to be your #1 choice in this region. And we hope that we've shown you today and you felt a little bit of the values of how we do that and why we do that. I appreciate your time today. I appreciate your viewership online. We hope you have a wonderful start to your academic year. Have a great day.